My fiancée dumped me to be single. Months later, she showed up pregnant claiming it's mine after dating other guys. So, me and my girlfriend had been together for about 5 years. We started dating back in high school, junior year for me, sophomore year for her. I still remember being super nervous when I asked her out after chemistry class. I honestly thought we were on the fast track to getting married and starting a family. We got engaged not too long ago, and everything seemed perfect. I was ridiculously happy, like the happiest I've ever been. We were always talking about our future, where we'd live, how many kids we wanted, all that kind of stuff that couples do when they see a future together. We even had a little apartment we rented together. She was finishing up her degree, and I was working full-time at this job my uncle hooked me up with. I mean, the pay wasn't amazing, but it was steady and had benefits, which is more than a lot of people our age had. Every Friday, we'd have our date night. I'm talking burgers and a movie, or sometimes trying out a new restaurant or going bowling. We hardly ever fought about anything serious. Sure, we'd bicker about silly stuff like whose turn it was to do the dishes or what to watch on Netflix, but nothing major. Then out of nowhere, she blindsides me, no fights, no warnings, nothing that would make me think something was up. It was a Tuesday night, I think, maybe Wednesday. I had just gotten home from work and was chilling with some YouTube videos, waiting for her to get back from class. She walks in looking kind of off, like maybe she'd been crying, and asks to talk. She starts with, "You're not going to like what I have to say." She spends like 15 minutes crying and telling me how she'll always love me, but we got together too young and she needs to be single for a bit. I was just confused. What does that even mean? I pushed her to explain what was going on. I mean, we'd been together for 5 years, we were engaged, we had plans. You don't just throw that away because you need to be single. She gave me this list of reasons that just didn't add up, saying she felt trapped and needed to find herself. I was like, what is this, a rom-com? This is our life. I told her she could do all that stuff while we're still together. I even offered to pause the wedding planning if that was stressing her out. I was just trying to find any way to keep us together, but nothing changed her mind. She kept saying she'd made up her mind. Then it hit me, and I asked if this was about wanting to date other people. She denied it at first but eventually admitted that, yeah, she basically wanted to do that. My heart was shattered, felt like it was being stomped on right in front of me. She tried to tell me she loved me again, and I just told her to save it. Then she had the nerve to ask if I was going to be okay, like how was I supposed to be okay? I told her it wasn't her problem anymore and walked out. I drove around for hours, trying to clear my head, and ended up at my buddy Jake's place. He let me crash on his couch for a few days while I tried to figure everything out. I couldn't bear to be in our apartment. She tried reaching out, calling, and texting, but I just deleted everything and blocked her everywhere, phone, social media, email. I wish I could say I took it like a champ and moved on, but I really fell into a dark place for a while. Jake tried to get me out meeting new people, but I wasn't having it. Eventually, I went back to the apartment. She had moved most of her stuff out by then and left a note saying she was staying with her friend Amber. I didn't even bother reading the whole thing, just tossed it. Those first few weeks were brutal. I'd just sit in the dark after work, thinking about everything. I stopped eating regularly, started drinking more than I should have, and even called in sick to work a couple of times when I couldn't get out of bed. My mom dropped by a couple times to check on me, but I just told her I was fine and needed some time. The only thing that really kept me going was work. I just threw myself into it. So, I ended up throwing myself into work, grabbing extra shifts whenever I could. There was this older guy at work, Phil, who noticed something was off. Phil's been through a rough divorce himself, so he kind of became my unofficial mentor. During our lunch breaks, he just let me vent about everything going on. He didn't give me any advice, just listened, which honestly helped more than he probably realizes. Fast forward about 3 months, I hadn't talked to anyone, but I was managing better. Not perfect, but at least functioning. I started hanging out with Jake and some of my friends again. Even went on a date my cousin set up, but it was super awkward and I knew I wasn't ready. Then yesterday rolls around. I'm pulling into my driveway and notice a car parked across the street. It seemed kind of familiar, but I shrugged it off. Next thing I know, she gets out and starts walking towards me. My first thought was to just ignore her and go inside. I mean, what could she possibly say that I'd want to hear? But as I'm heading to my door, she calls out my name. I turn around and snap, "What?" And that's when I see it, she's pregnant. I just stood there, totally speechless. I mean, what do you even say in that situation? She starts apologizing for ambushing me, saying she's been trying to get in touch, but knew I had her blocked. Apparently, she even came by a few times and left notes, but I never saw them. Maybe they blew away, who knows? I wasn't thrilled to see her, especially not with a baby bump that wasn't supposed to be mine. I mean, she broke up with me to be single and date other people, right? So I tell her there's nothing to discuss and turn to leave. That's when she drops the bomb that the baby is mine. I stop dead. At first, I thought I misheard her or it was some kind of messed up joke. I turn back and there she is, crying, mascara running down her face. I ask what she's talking about, and to cut a long story short, she says she's 4 months pregnant, meaning she was about a month along when she broke up with me but had no idea. She didn't suspect it until the second month when she missed a period, then got mixed results from home pregnancy tests. Eventually, she went to a clinic and got it confirmed. She spent a month convincing herself to get an abortion but couldn't go through with it. She begged to come inside to talk, saying it was too personal for the front lawn where neighbors could hear. After what felt like forever, I let her in. The apartment felt different with her there. I hadn't really changed anything since she left, same furniture, same pictures, though all the ones of us were tucked away in a drawer. She noticed I still had this plant she gave me for my birthday last year and seemed surprised it was still alive. I guess I kept watering it for some reason. We sat at opposite ends of the couch, as far from each other as possible. I was probably harsher than I needed to be. I told her I didn't believe the baby was mine. I figured she wanted to date others, then got knocked up by some guy who bailed, so she came running back hoping I'd play dad. She said I was right to feel that way but swore she didn't date anyone else. I got really frustrated. I mean, did she really expect me to buy that she broke up with me to be single but then didn't date anyone for 3 months while pregnant? It made no sense. She kept insisting she hadn't actually gone out with anyone and didn't have anyone specific in mind when we broke up. She said she felt this overwhelming panic and like she was missing out on something back then, but after we split, she realized what she really missed was me. She thinks the pregnancy hormones made her impulsive, and the breakup was a spur-of-the-moment thing. The day after we broke up, she woke up feeling like it was the biggest mistake of her life. She asked if I'd ever read her texts or emails. When I said no, she said she texted me the day after the breakup wanting to talk and take it all back, but I hadn't read them. Apparently, she sent me dozens of messages over the weeks after. So, I was trying to apologize and find out from her why she didn't just look for me face to face if this was such a big deal. She said she had tried but kept missing me because I was either at work or hanging out at Jake's. Heck, she even showed up at my mom's place once, but my mom told her I didn't want to see her, which was news to me. She didn't tell anyone about her situation at first, no parents, no friends, nada. She was in denial, hoping it would just magically disappear. But when that didn't happen, she thought about getting an abortion and even scheduled an appointment, but she couldn't go through with it. That's when she started urgently trying to get in touch with me. After a couple of hours of chatting, I noticed she looked worn out. Pregnant women need rest, right? I'm not a pro on this stuff, so I asked if she was thirsty, and she asked for some water too. So now, after talking to her for hours, my emotions are all over the place. Part of me wants to forget my fears and doubts, take her back, and be the husband and dad I plan to be. I mean, that was always on the cards, just not so soon and not like this mess. But at the same time, I can't be a dad to a kid who might not be mine with someone who left me to hook up with other guys. Look, I'm open to being a stepdad someday but not with someone who broke my heart so badly. That's why I asked for a paternity test. Neither of us knows exactly how to get one lined up, but she's going to ask her doctor about it at her next visit. I have no clue if we have to wait until the baby's born, but I need this to clear my head. She's on board with it because she says she's sure it's mine, claiming she hasn't been with anyone else. She even showed me ultrasound pictures, which gave me all kinds of feels, thinking that could be my kid. But I gotta hold off getting too attached until I know for sure. Can't have my hopes dashed all over again. Before she took off, she handed me a letter she said she'd been carrying around for a month, hoping to give to me if we ever talked. I read it after she left. It's full of her regrets about hurting me and how she loves me, calling our breakup the worst mistake ever. She wrote about freaking out over the future and letting fear wreck things. She really wants us to be a family and hasn't thought about anything else for months. But honestly, I don't know what to believe anymore. She was so convincing, but then again, she seemed happy with me right before things went south. How do I know she won't just change her mind again? Here's what's running through my head. 1. If this kid is actually mine, what do I do? Do I try to work things out with her for the baby, or do I just co-parent and keep my heart out of it? I know my folks would tell me to do the right thing and marry her, but is that really the best move for any of us? 2. How do I trust that she hasn't been with anyone else since we split? Even if the kid is mine, it doesn't mean she didn't get with someone else after getting pregnant. I know it sounds harsh, but if she did, I can't get back together with her. I just can't deal with that level of betrayal, even if we were technically broken up at the time. 3. If I'm not the dad, then this whole thing is a no-go for me. I'd cut ties without a second thought. She says she'll do whatever it takes to make things right, even offered to pay for couples counseling and said I could have full access to her phone and email for peace of mind. That seems like a good faith move. Why offer that if you're hiding something? I told her I needed time to figure things out. She looked bummed, but she got it. She left her new number and address. She's staying with her friend Amber, and asked me to call when I'm ready to talk more. Her next doctor's appointment is in a week, and she wants me there if I can make it. My mind is spinning. Just 4 months ago, I'd have been over the moon to be a dad and marry her. Those feelings are still here, but now they're tangled up with hurt and distrust. I keep bouncing between wanting to believe her and thinking this might be some kind of elaborate trick. Alright, so here's the deal. After she left, I called up Jake and spilled everything. He thinks I should get a paternity test before making any big moves, which I was already planning on doing. But he also warned me not to get pulled back in just 'cause of the baby, and to make sure it's her that I actually want, not just the whole family idea. My mom keeps calling, but I've been dodging her. I'm not ready to fill her in. She never really liked my ex and always said we were too serious too soon. Gotta admit, she was right about that. Since she showed up, I haven't slept much, just keep thinking about being a dad and whether I'd be any good at it. My dad wasn't around much when I was a kid, always working, and I don't want to be like that. But I also don't want to jump into something that's not right just 'cause of a kid. Any advice would be awesome. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Edit. Wow, so many comments. Can't reply to everyone, so here's an update. I get it, I've been a jerk in how I handled things. I was clueless about how pregnancy hormones can mess with someone. I did some reading and learned they can really mess with your head. Please cut me some slack, I was in a raw and confused state when I wrote that initial post. Didn't mean to come off as such a jerk. And for those questioning if I ever loved her, yeah, totally. I love her a lot, and that's why this is so hard. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be so torn up. You're right, I should have read her messages, but I was too hurt and angry at the time. I know now that was immature. As for the paternity test, I found out it's possible to do it before the baby's born with a blood test from the mom. It's pricey, but we're looking into it. Can't address all the questions because I'm about to go see her. I need to try to fix this. I've got a second chance with her, and that's what I want. I'm still going to ask for the paternity test for my peace of mind. I hope she gets it, even if it stings a bit. I'm just gonna trust her about the hormones and her not really wanting to break up. Sorry if I seemed like a total jerk. This whole thing has brought out my worst, but I'm trying to do better. Update. Wow, didn't expect this to blow up. Thanks for all the feedback, even the ones calling me out. I probably deserve some of it. Lots of you were asking for updates, so here it goes. After reading all your comments and doing some digging, I found out pregnancy hormones can really mess with people's heads way more than I knew. I read stories about women making crazy decisions and having personality changes while pregnant, which made me realize it wasn't all her fault. I drove over to the apartment where she's staying with her friend Amber. I was super nervous, changing radio stations every 2 minutes because nothing sounded right. Almost turned back a couple of times but forced myself to go. Amber answered the door, looking like she wasn't sure if she should let me in or tell me to get lost. I got along with Amber fine before, but I guess she's been supporting my ex, so she's protective now. She left us alone to talk, saying she'd be back in a couple of hours, basically telling me not to upset her friend. We had a long, tough conversation, with a lot of tears. Mostly mine, embarrassingly enough. I totally broke down, but once I got everything off my chest, I felt way better. She just does that to me. So, there's this girl I've known forever. She's patient, kind, and honestly one of the most loving people I've met. We caught up on everything that went down during the 3 months we weren't speaking. I poured my heart out about how torn up I was, feeling like I couldn't wrap my head around why she'd just toss aside everything we had. She listened and kept apologizing, admitting she didn't have any good reasons, just that she felt overwhelmed and ended up panicking. She assured me she didn't date anyone else. 2 guys did ask her out, knowing we had split. With the first, she wasn't ready, and with the second, she already knew she was pregnant. She even offered to let me check her messages, but I trusted her because of the way she was speaking to me. She opened up about how lonely she felt those months, how she cried herself to sleep every night regretting her decision. She'd even drive by my workplace hoping to see me but couldn't work up the courage to come in. She wrote letters to me but ended up never sending them, thinking I wouldn't read them anyway. The pregnancy hasn't been easy for her. She's been pretty sick and had to pause her studies. Her parents were initially upset, but they've come around and are supportive now. She hasn't mentioned to them that we're back in contact yet. After hours of talking, we just kind of fell into each other's arms. Amber texted, saying she was heading back, so my ex came home with me to talk more. I was kind of nervous about having her in our old place, but it also felt strangely right. We ended up staying up almost all night, chatting away. She shared updates from her doctor's visits and showed me ultrasound pics. We agreed to wait on finding out the baby's gender until birth. We spent the whole weekend together, and I've got to admit, the idea of pregnant sex was completely new to me. I never thought I'd be into it. But since I felt confident the baby was mine, it wasn't weird at all. Okay, maybe a little weird, but in a surprisingly good way. The big thing is that I trust her 100% now, especially since she's the one pushing for a paternity test. If she had any doubts, she wouldn't be insisting on it, right? She wants us to do the test so there are no doubts hanging over us, and we can move forward fully trusting each other. Yesterday, she had an OB/GYN appointment that she asked me to join. I was pretty nervous, having no idea what to expect, but her doctor turned out to be this super chill dude in his mid-30s. Total bro material. He didn't treat me like an idiot or anything, just explained everything as he checked her out. Seeing the baby on the ultrasound was something else. It finally hit me that I'm going to be a dad. He pointed out the baby's head, spine, tiny arms and legs, and said everything looked good. Hearing that quick little heartbeat got to me, and I'm usually not the emotional type. After the exam, the doctor asked if it was a good time for the talk, and she was on board, so she left us to chat. He told me she had discussed everything with him a month back. He couldn't go into her medical details but wanted to give me a crash course on female hormones and how they can mess with a woman's emotions during pregnancy. Seriously, this guy broke it down perfectly. He explained that pregnancy hormones could shake up moods and judgments and even personality, especially early on when women don't realize they're pregnant yet. She also brought up the paternity test with him yesterday, and they're setting it up for next week. He thought it was a good move just to clear any doubts, though he didn't see any reason to think the baby wasn't mine based on what he knew. He even took some time to see how I was doing. It was cool of him to share that he and his wife almost split over pregnancy issues too. They fought a lot in her first trimester, and he actually moved out for a bit. So here's the scoop: after a rough patch, they managed to sort things out and now they've got 3 kids and are happier than ever. It's crazy how tough times can actually make relationships stronger if you're willing to stick together and work through it. The other day, I left feeling super confident that this relationship is totally worth fighting for. I think she just had a bit of a meltdown because of a cocktail of frustration, hormones, and emotions she couldn't quite figure out herself. It doesn't make what happened okay, but it does help explain it, so that's enough for me to move forward. Yesterday, we went out to dinner with Jake and his girlfriend. It was a bit awkward at first. Jake kept giving her these intense looks, but by the end, it was mostly chill. Jake pulled me aside and asked if I was really sure about all of this. I told him I was, and he said he'd have my back no matter what. Just finished moving her stuff back into my place a few hours ago. Not everything, since she's keeping some stuff at Amber's until we're more settled, but she's got enough here to be comfy. Tonight, we're starting fresh and taking things slow. We might have some unresolved feelings brewing underneath, but I've already got a ring, the same one she gave back when we broke up. Couldn't return it, and if things go well for a month or 2, I'm gonna pop the question again. Both our families would rather we tie the knot before having a kid, which reminds me, I gotta tell my folks they're gonna be grandparents and that we're back together. That should be interesting. My mom's gonna have plenty to say, I'm sure. Her parents know about the baby but not that we're giving it another shot. Her mom's never been my biggest fan, so that'll be an interesting chat too. Amber helped move some of her stuff and seemed genuinely happy for us, although she did pull me aside for the classic "don't mess this up again" chat. I promised her it wouldn't happen, but I get where she's coming from. She's seen all the tough times. Big thanks to everyone who helped set me straight. I was skeptical about the whole hormone thing, but your stories have really opened my eyes. The paternity test is lined up for next week. I'm sure of the outcome, but it'll be good to have that confirmation so we can move forward without any doubts. I might update again if anything big happens.